Greetings, folks, on a Tuesday, 22nd of July. Just cruising right along, aren't we? Cheers, people. If you haven't watched my latest chat, which happened yesterday, with Carrie Manier of Gentle Giant, I encourage you to watch it, especially if you don't know the band. It's not that you'll learn a whole lot about the band's history, but you can catch his flavor as a person. Very genuine, very humble. For someone who has created such an amazing and truly stunning, creative body of work. What a sweet man. I really enjoyed time with him. He was sitting out because he's a part of my Gentle Giant collection. They are one of my favorite bands of all time. Two different versions. Stephen Wilson there, original. Definitely one of my all-time favorite bands. And if you aren't aware of it, I've done interviews with other people in the past. I have now interviewed with four original members of Gentle Giant. And I'll again thank Mauricio Alvarado for making the connection. I wasn't even looking to do it. So that's one thing I'd like to say again is like, these things just kind of happen. I'm not looking to interview people. I'm not necessarily interested in interviewing people just because I can. If I have a personal interest, that makes a difference. I've had people offer and who I'm not that interested in. I won't say their names. But among other artists that I've interviewed were, like I said, the four members of Gentle Giant: Dereck Shulman, the drummer John Weathers, the guitarist Gary Green, and Dereck Shulman. Lovely conversations, but besides them, Mew is another one of my favorite bands of all time from Denmark. Right? Anyway, Jonas Bjerre, the lead singer, and in many ways one of the main creative forces of Mew, we're kind of like friends, and he's been on. Martin Barr of Jethro Tull has been on my channel. Steve Hackett of Genesis, and Chester Thompson, Charles Hayward of This Heat. Those are some of the people I've talked to. Look at my playlist for the interviews list. There's some other interesting folks. Mark Burgess of the Chameleons, who I've actually played music with. It's an honor to spend time with artists who I appreciate and love and respect. It meant a lot to me to be able to tell Carrie that about the song Aspirations. I have vivid memories of sleeping outside in the grass on the campus of the Colorado College in Greeley, where I got stuck homeless for a while. And as I basically cried myself to sleep, the song that I heard in my head was Aspirations. Carrie's voice, not the words so much as the sound of his voice and that music. He said it. You heard him say it. He goes by what he feels, and it's in the music. See, to me, that's why I'm actually going to show some more of the records that were given to me, because that was fun to share. You see, that's the thing about what music means to me. I can enjoy manufactured product, but I want something that's real. And there's a lot of soul in music that's real that is unrecognized because it's not what we have been told that's soul. You know? So I did not meet with Otis yesterday. He was feeling a bit under the weather. I think I'm getting a message from him this morning. Yep. So maybe that'll happen later this week. But shitty ear day, damn it. You know, it goes on for days when it happens. So anyway, I went through some more of the records last night. I haven't played everything, and there's some stuff I'm not gonna play. There's no need to. And absolutely, some of these records are going to end up at the Goodwill. I'll at least give them to the Goodwill, not throw them in a dumpster. You know, to me, I know there's a lot of junk records, stuff that's just worthless, but I still hate the idea that they end up in a dumpster. I'm also going to see as I go through these if there's any of this. There might be some of this stuff like the Blackbirds, which I didn't care for that. It's just Donald Byrd's band, but they're doing, they're trying to be commercial, and it's just crappy. But Blake might like that. So I'm going to set some of these aside to see if Blake wants them. There were a couple more cool things in this bunch of records that I got. But mostly it was stuff that it's like I don't need to own this and much less play it, like this. Elton John, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Kid, is that right? Cowboy. Elton John is inescapable. I like Elton John. Now, I've never owned this record, so it was nice to drop the needle on it. I was like, interesting. It came with all this stuff. I mean, this thing is just packed. 2 booklets. It's like 2 whole booklets in here. It's like, this is quite a package. Lyrics, scraps. And there was something else in here. It's like, geez, I didn't realize this was packed with so much stuff. Poster? Is this a poster? Yep. Still has the poster. And then there's a sheet in here about the Elton. I'm going to show it. Yeah. Elton John Fan Club. Boy, this is the real deal item, isn't it? I didn't, of course, not being interested in the album when it came out, I had no idea that it had so much ephemera with it. I do rate Elton John. I recognize Elton John. And I do have some of his records in my collection. I do. Here's another one where it's like, it was not in its cover. I thought maybe it was an empty cover, but then I found the record amongst the stuff. So this is a cool record to get, just to have. Easy Rider. Never bought the record. Why? Why would I buy it? Have I seen the movie? Well, yeah, it's so old that, yeah, I saw this movie ages ago. So it's cool to get the soundtrack, all those great songs on here, and then the song by the Fraternity of Man, Don't Bogart That Joint, My Friend. Pass it over to me. And so, not to belabor the point, but to talk about it, this person who I basically inherited these records from, got them, was a gay man. And there are some things that seem like they're stereotypes about gays, but the fact is that, especially if you're of a certain age, like me or older, there's just a lot of truth to them. Like, so for example, he had a lot of Donna Summer. Donna Summer very, very popular in disco. She's the disco queen. And where did disco really take off? In the gay clubs. That's where I first heard it, as a just out of my teens, exploring sexuality, going to the gay bar. Well, there's two here. Two here. There's probably more, but there's two that I would go to. That's where I first encountered mixing, disco, and DJs going seamlessly from record to record, matching the beats. And it was intoxicating, to dance and just dance all night. So, not surprised to find certain records in this man's collection. They reflect his lifestyle. And so there's a bunch of Donna Summer, Four Seasons of Love. Here is I didn't even know this existed. Look at this. A 12-inch single of Love to Love You Baby, Donna Summer. This is kind of cool. I've never seen it before. Man, he played the shit out of this. It's you see where it's been played till it's almost white? Shit. This guy partied. That's the other thing, as I was listening to records last night from the collection and cleaning some of them and looking at the marks on the records, it's like, I'll bet these records, these marks are from times when he was either really high and getting into it or having a party and playing records, and the records were just being, you know what you do at a party. Donna Summer's greatest hits. And I recognize that, again, I love the history of music, so I recognize the importance of what she did with Giorgio Moroder and how that kind of kickstarted electronic music to another level. Here's another. Donna Summer, Bad Girls. Does this have the hit? I do like the hit. She works hard for the money. And there's more Donna Summer records, so I probably got it from him. And then here, I told you I saw Sylvester, real obvious openly gay man back in the 70s. I saw him open for the Doobie Brothers of all lineups around 72, or it was early. And I've told the story. He didn't go down well, and he didn't care. And he just put it in everybody's face. He's a gay man. And his voice is like, oh my God, oh. And these songs, these arrangements. The one thing I'll say is that the Deep Cuts album from Dark Entries last year that came out, that has a cut from me on it, for Gay Pride. Patrick Cowley is also on that album, and Patrick Cowley played with Sylvester for, I guess, a large part. Well, played with him. So that was like, oh no. Musically, it's like, oh no. I don't need to play this, but it's kind of cool to get it because I love the Mamas and the Papas. So this old stuff, the nostalgia, the stuff from my childhood, I don't need these records. I have a lot of these 40 on 45 still. But this is stuff that I love from my childhood, dedicated to the one I love. Go where you want to go. Look through any window. Great memories with this music. He loved that disco. So here we have the Best of Silver convention. I mean, this is just pure product. Kind of neat. I've never owned an album on this label. Mid-song. So there's the fun aspect of having this record for temporarily. Because yeah, this stuff is taking up room out in the living room. I'm so out of room. I'm not going to have this stack of records permanently out in my living room. They'll get the ones I'm going to keep will get folded in, but the majority of this is gone like this. This is gone. Now here's one. It was fun to play because I'd never heard the album all the way through. And like most people, I love Diana Ross and the Supremes. So getting to hear Love Child, the whole album, pretty cool. The standout thing about Motown Records is that even if you don't like the song so much, the instrumentation, the band is always blazing. The background tracks of these records are always blazing. But the other thing that's nice is that this was them trying to be topical. Love Child, single parent children. So some of these songs lyrically are interesting. So this was enjoyable. More Donna Summer. Good Lord. Now I thought this was kind of funny and kind of telling of the ubiquitous nature, of certain commercial records. So another person whose records are completely out of favor as far as I can tell, but they were at one time, you would see them like you would see cars in the street in Omaha, in the shops. Dan Fogelberg. At one point, I actually had a Dan Fogelberg collection because you couldn't get away from the records. But I also had a personal experience with a friend who liked Dan Fogelberg at the beginning of Dan's career. So I heard his first album when it came out, and that made an impression. I could see and hear what people thought was so cool about him. But this is telling about this. This is from Eric's record collection, and it's still sealed. Windows and wall. He didn't even open it. Am I going to open it? No. Cheers, people. I played a little bit of this. It's cool to get it. Diana Ross and the Supremes Farewell, their final concert in a box set. Slightly beat, but it's cool. It's got the booklet, double album, and it's them. And once again, the way that it's presented, like nightclub singers, kind of ritzy, trying to appeal to people who have money. That's what I hear, and that's what I hear here. It's cool to get it, though. Let's keep going, okay? A little bit longer. Some of these I haven't played yet. Some of them I won't bother to play. This one I will. BT Express, they had a big disco hit. I forget the name of the song. I don't think it's on here, but I haven't played it yet, so I don't know. I will know it when I hear it. I don't know the title. It's a white label promo. That's kind of cool. Here I end up with a copy of Bryan Adams, another one of those records, a big hit, huge hit. And so you see the records. When he comes on the radio, I generally listen because it's good quality. Bryan Adams is good at what he does. I like his voice. I like his songwriting. I like the arrangements. So when it comes to commercial music, when I hear it on the radio, Summer of '69 is a great song. Run to You, you really kind of can't. I cannot, as a musician and real music lover, I can't deny quality. I can admit when I don't like things that are of quality, but I recognize quality. And of course, I end up with almost all of the Fresh Air albums, which Chip Davis is from Omaha. People all over this record are people that I know and have played music with. Ron Cooley. Oh my goodness, I don't want to go too deep here, but Ron Cooley. I'm trying to see if my friends. wife who passed away is on here. But anyway, this is the one with the nice cover. I just have always thought that this was the perfect example of what I hate about music, where you take, and I've heard Chip Davis talk about his methodology. It's like his secret, or rather his formula for success, was to take all of the spice out of the music, take everything out of the music that makes it special, and make it real bland and cardboard. He said it, not using those words, but in so many words. It's like, take all the spice out so that you immediately recognize. And it worked, because these records are everywhere, and I think they're just okay. American Gramophone. Another Elton John, Caribou. The Bitch is Back. This one I had to clean because it's still, well, no, actually I didn't, because it's like, once again, it's one of those songs that's kind of an anthem for LGBTQ people. Maybe I shouldn't put it like that, but I've just noticed with my gay friends and gay people that they really relate to it. The bitch is back. You know what I'm saying? I recognize that stuff. There's that aspect of personality within me, but it's not me. It's like, I don't want to be all showy, and I'm a man, No offense to people who are trans or nothing, but it's like, I'm glad that was not my burden, to be in a body that I don't think is mine. I'm so glad I don't have that as an issue. These are cheesy, but at the same time, they're kind of cool. The Cerrone albums, big time disco. But I ended up with this Cerrone #3, Supernature, drummer, cheeseball, but a good arranger. This one is real good. Cerrone 4, the golden touch when it comes to this music. This one is really well done. Still cheesy though. It is. I don't have to show all these. Okay. There's some real crap in there. Another Supremes. There are several. This one is in real bad shape, but I'm showing it because it's old. I hear a symphony. Yeah, the Supremes were important in the Higgins household when I was a child. This was a nice surprise and slightly collectible. Blue Oyster Cult, a 12-inch single, promo single of Godzilla, BW Godzilla Live. This was a nice, I looked this up. This is nice, white label. I like Blue Oyster Cult. I kept their first 2 albums. I used to have about 5 or 6 of their albums, and then when I was downsizing, which I could stand to do again, except it'd be hard now, I got rid of all those other records. But I like Blue Oyster Cult. Saw them live with Status Quo opening, of all things, back in 72 or 73. It was a really good show. I went to see Blue Oyster Cult. I don't buy Status Quo records, but live, Status Quo kicked ass. They rocked hard. They almost stole the show, except I was really into Blue Oyster Cult. I got another Stones record I've never owned. I'm going to keep this one. Big hits, High Tide and Green Grass. This is the 60s. These are songs that I grew up with that I have a lot of memories associated with. Had never owned the record, so I didn't know that it came with this booklet or all these pictures. The record is well played, but not totally well. It's in pretty bad shape, but it's cool. Like I've explained, the Stones have earned my respect, but they're a raggedy ass band. Yeah. Now here's Fleetwood Mac I used to own, got rid of it. I'll keep it now. I'm going to keep this now. Penguin. I've got Fleetwood Mac up here. Then Play On, Future Games, Bare Trees. I love those albums. Those are in my collection. This used to be, and I used to have Kiln House, but I never really got into Kiln House. Here's one I've never had any interest in. It's a double album. My God. But now I can listen to see what was going on with this album. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Of course, I've heard the hits, but I have never heard this album. So let's see what else is going on here. I see this title here, Crisco Kisses. Oh, God. Oh, my God. I understand why some aspects of gay lifestyle freaks out straights, but the strangeness goes on along the entire spectrum of human behavior. Like the Crisco is a reference to fisting, which is like, oh my God, come on, people. But I guess some people, that's what they want to do. Keep that shit away from me. Another one I've had in the past, because of the hit, and the rest of the album is really no good. A group called Smith, they had that hit, Baby It's You. It's a tough radio song. It catches your attention, but the rest of the album is pretty tame, pretty crap. This was fun to get because I like Sheila E. I have the album, Glamorous Life, but this is a 12-inch single with an extended mix. I played this last night and just had fun listening to it. The music is killer. She's a percussionist kicking the shit out of those timbales. Very sexy, talented woman. Much respect for Sheila E. Here are two old records which are fun to get, and I haven't played yet, but will be fun to listen to for oldies' sake. Mitch Ryder's hits. Jenny Take a Ride, Little Latin Loopy Loo, Sock It To Me Baby, that was the big one. Actually, the biggest one, from my memory, was Devil with a Blue Dress and Good Golly Miss Molly. This is cool because it's an original on the Dinah Voice label, or New Voice label. So that's cool. Talk about somebody with some soul. Mitch Ryder always reminds me of Alan Vega of Suicide. And then Gene Pitney. I loved his songs as a kid. Love his voice. I also like his story. If I'm not mistaken, he bought this record label. The label that made him big. He invested wisely and bought the label. I think he's one of those early musos who figured out the business and bought his publishing. I think I have this right. But very distinct voice, distinct arrangements on the songs, good songs. I love Gene Pitney. Last little bit here, because this will be it. I won't be doing this again with this bunch. I might miss some that would be fun to talk about, but yeah, this stuff has got to go. This is, like, to me, just the epitome of crass commercialism and absolute lack of taste. Miko, the Wizard of Oz, disco style. I tried to listen to this last night. And it starts off with just the most cheesy cover of Over the Rainbow with a disco beat. Oh my god. See, this is the stuff where I always make the connection sociologically between the art and the things that we surround ourselves with in society and the level of intelligence. And it's like when great majorities of people, their sensibilities are so mediocre, in my opinion, that this stuff seems cool. No wonder we can be fooled by politicians and hucksters and carpetbagging sales types like Trump. He's the fucking president. But when I hear music like this and see how popular it was and how much money it made, it's like that explains it all. A lot of people just clueless. So take advantage of it. Sell them anything. Tell them, tell them, tell them that the worst product on the shelf is the one to buy, even though you may see the other product, that's the good one, but I'm being told to get this one. And that's what people do 9 out of 10 times. They do what they're told, not me. A few videos back, someone was asking me if I got into the Philly soul when it was popular. No, I liked the good songs, but like for example here, MFSB, Mothers, Fathers, Sisters, Brothers, Love is the Message. They had a big disco hit. It might be on here, but I started to play this. It's all instrumental, but this is crap. It's crap. I would rather listen to Merch Bowl, Noise. I ain't shitting you. I would rather listen on most days. I'd rather listen to something like this than this stuff. And this is extreme. Venereology by Merch Bowl, but there's something to be learned from this sound, and I love the color of this record. But I'm using this as an example for contrast as to what I find truly interesting and more of a genuine expression of a person's art, as opposed to being focused on commerce like these records I'm showing. These records are primarily interested in being sold as opposed to enriching your lives. Another Diana Ross record, Greatest Hits. I know what I'm talking about, people. Chuck Mangione. I saw Chuck Mangione. It was cool when I saw him. The percussionist Don Elias was in the band. I got up close to the stage just for a little bit, and Don Elias thought he recognized me. But he thought I was my older brother James. My older brother James played with Don Elias. It was a funny moment. And I did this, and I smiled, and he, and he got it. It's like, I look like James, right? James. Now, their early records, I respect. I don't listen to them anymore, but Pointer Sisters, they can sing, and their jazz background is all throughout the way that they approach their vocal harmonies and the ways that they move through the songs. So much respect to the Pointer Sisters. I still won't be keeping these. It's just like what I like to listen to. It's not the room of the house that I enjoy. This man had several records by this woman who I've seen records before but never had any interest in hearing. Jane Oliver, Chasing Rainbows. Modern day torch singer, maybe? I started to play this, and it's, again, that typical lyric content. Oh, the last time I saw you. Oh, we should have never parted. Fuck that shit. More Dolly Parton. Now here's one I already have, so this is one I'm going to give to Blake for sure, because this is good. I played it last night since it was out. Chick Corea, My Spanish Heart. Chick Corea is not Spanish. He's Italian. But for all intents and purposes, he looks pretty damn Hispanic. But this is really good. I've told the story where I've seen Chick Corea live a couple times and met him and had a great conversation with him backstage. Sat down and just conversed, and he really enjoyed it. I like early Cat Stevens. I was introduced to him in high school, and Tea for the Tillerman is a charming album, so I still have that. But by the time he put out this album, Buddha and the Chocolate Box, I was tired of what he was doing. The one hit off of here, Oh Very Young, it's like, yeah, this stuff is about done. But, and I like Teaser and the Firecat and Mona Bone Jacket. I have those records, and Peter Gabriel plays flute on Mona Bone Jacket. Here, this is just absolutely wretched, terrible. Alicia Bridges, she had the disco hit, I like the nightlife on. Lord have mercy. It's just pure hedonism, and it's just so tasteless. Yuck. These are the last that I'll show because I'm done. This is it. I do appreciate that my friend Dana, ex-boss, thought of me and got these to me instead of throwing them in the trash so I could have fun with these. But the other part of it was getting to see her. It's pretty cool that you can be friends with your ex-boss, huh? So this, never had interest in this, played some of it, and of course that's why. It's a pastiche. You know, if I'm going to listen to it, I'm going to listen to the real deal. I've never cared for Broadway. Musicals, I don't care for them. I've played in pit orchestras of musicals as part of my background. Jesus Christ Superstar and a couple other things. But I don't like it. So Dreamgirls, never had an interest in. Nice cover. I put a little bit of this on, and it's like about a fake Supremes, right? And right from the very top, it's like, ugh, yuck, manufactured. No. I'll leave the worst for the last, and if you get mad at me for saying it's the worst, I don't care. Here, Al Hudson and the Soul Partners. I love my brothers, but I don't care for this type of music. And these words, when something's wrong with my baby, disco lover, baby let me love you, these songs suck. It's about sex. It's all lies. To get your legs open, I'll tell you any sweet thing you want. Give me that ass. And I actually am PTSD about this stuff from childhood, from when my older brother and sister started to have parties. And I liked it for the dancing, but the other thing going on was all this closet sex and all this other weird shit that pissed me off. It took away from the magic of the music, all this animal sex, but I know that's what we are. But see, that's another thing where I know I'm not like quote unquote normal, because that stuff bothers me. Couple more. Mark Knopfler's soundtrack to Local Hero. I love the opening track, The Rocks and the Water. It's downright ambient. But when they get into all that picking and stuff, I'm just done with it. I just don't need to hear picking and grinning ever again. Sylvester apparently did better than I realized because he ended up on Warner Brothers. Here's his album Mutual Attraction on Warner Brothers. Apparently he had a hit with this song. I never heard it, so I played it yesterday. Someone Like You. This is a 12-inch single off the album. Once again, just fucking god-awful music. And I do not relate to those words whatsoever. Rest in peace, Sylvester. But that ain't my thing. And then last two. It's like I saw Starship just before they had the hit. So I got to see them with Grace Slick. So I got to see Paul Kantner and Grace Slick and Marty Bell. And yeah, he was with them. So that's what I can say about Starship. But this music, good God, fucking almighty, get out of here. Get out of here. It's like it could have been stamped by a machine. It's pure product. And then this is like, I refuse to put this on my turntable. The Ethel Merman disco album. Oh Lord, please save us. She was such a personality and her voice is so big that, of course, I remember her as being larger than life from childhood, seeing her on stuff like Ed Sullivan. There's no business like show business. But somebody wants to hear that with a disco beat? You come, what the fuck? What? So there you have it, folks. That's it. There won't be any more of those unless somebody gives me more records. I mean, it's like I would gladly take people's records rather than see them throw them in the garbage, or even give them to the Goodwill. So, like, one thing I know that will probably happen with these when I take them to the Goodwill is that they'll end up on the shelves of Goodwills overpriced. That's the thing that we collectors have noticed. Whoa, it's a 40-minute video. I'm almost done. That Goodwill's jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, records are popular now. They don't know what it is. They'll sell this garbage for $5 a piece. Anyway, that's what I got for you today. Last thing I'll say is if you didn't watch the Carrie Meniere video chat. It was a visit. That's what I like. It's a visit. These people feel like they can genuinely be my friends. It's an honor to have had the opportunity to speak to these wonderful musicians, Carrie Meniere being the latest. If you were to ask me who do I really want to talk to, I can't think of anyone anymore. It used to be Peter Gabriel. We tried Steven Wilson, but that was a bust, and that's fine. And really, Steven Wilson, not actually that much. And Ryuichi Sakamoto has passed away. He was someone I really wanted to meet and speak to. But if anyone else is offered to me, if I'm not interested, I'm not going to do it just because I can. I need a reason, you know. It makes you can see it in the rapport between me and the other person in the talks. Okay, it has personal meaning to me to be able to speak to them. So that's what I have for you on this Tuesday. As always, sending love to my family, sending my love to all of you.